Hi everyone, I'm John, and this is Just A GearHead. In today's episode, we're going to start putting the Buick Century back together again. Alright, like I said, in today's episode, we're going to try to start doing some of the reassembly on the Buick Century. I did get the heads back from the machine shop, and the transmission back from the transmission shop. So we can start putting things together. In a previous episode, or in a comment on a previous episode, when you guys mentioned that you can put in a line at the back of the block to equalize the oil pressure on the cam. So we're going to do that first. Alright, to run to the car, obviously. I probably won't be able to film much of actually putting this in. But what it is you take out the plugs from here. I took one out already to make sure I get the right thread of fitting to go in here. So you take out these two plugs and then you run a couple of fittings and a little piece of copper or whatever line you have between the two. And what it's supposed to do is equalize the pressure on that back cam bearing and whatnot. So the Buick motors, I guess, had an issue with that rear cam bearing burning out. It looked pretty good. I tried to get in there and look at it. It looked pretty good, so we're just going to use it as is. But to try to give it a little bit more life, we're going to put in a couple of brass fittings. So just these little 90s, and they go in just like this way. You try to angle them down, and then you run a little copper line between two of them. So once I get that in, I'll show you guys what it looks like. So there we have it. Now the photos I see, they put a loop that went down, under here. But when I tried that with the type of tubing I have, it ran into the crank. Or it looked like it might. It was very tight fit in there. So it's a little bit more messing around, but I managed to get it almost straight across like this. And I think it'll be fine. I did put a little bit of RTV on the threads just to hopefully seal them up and hopefully we won't get any leaks from this. Because the whole point was to get rid of leaks, not make more, so hopefully that won't leak. And with the flex plate on, you can see there's plenty of clearance between the fitting and the flex plate. So there shouldn't be any interference there. Well, I've had enough with rolling around on the concrete for a little bit. So I think we'll start putting the motor back together. So I gotta clean up all this gasket material and then we'll throw the heads on. Before I put the head gaskets on, I'm going to take a little bit of RTV and just go around some of the water jackets. Just a little bit of cheap insurance. And also help hold the head gasket in place while I try to set the heads on. Because they are heavy bunkers and it might take a minute to get them in place. Says up, so I'm going to assume that's the top side. Alright, now we're going to get those heavy bunkers. Alright, so these two go into water jackets, and probably the back two, so they'll need some sealer on them. And yeah. Now we have to lift these into place. They look pretty good with a coat of red paint on them. I have some ARP bolts. The manual says to torque them to 80, but ARP says 70 over 3 stages. So we'll do that. Long ones for up here, and the short ones for just above where the manifold bolts on, so down here. So we're here to putting these on. And then once I have this one on, I'll do that one. Where did I put? There it is. They also give you some assembly lube for the torquing them down. Heads are on, bolts are torqued in order as suggested by the manual and to the spec that ARP suggested for the bolts. So now we're going to take a quick break because it's lunchtime, and then we'll come back. I'll put in the lifters, the push rods, and the rockers, and then probably the intake. I might have wanted to put the headers in before I put the heads on. We'll have to see if those fit. So, before we got too much further, I figured I should try to see if the headers will fit in here. Passenger side shouldn't be too bad. Driver side, might have to do it from bottom. I'm hoping I can get even with the heads on. I got these from TA Performance. I believe they're 1 5/8 into a 3-inch collector, and then I have an extension that goes from 3 down to 2.5. Trying to find headers for this motor in this car is a bit of a trick. A couple of places claim to have them. Some people used to make them, but everywhere I tried them from, they didn't have them, so I had them from TA Performance. Which is where I got my intake as well. So, they did come bare, and I threw a couple of coats of high heat flat black on them. Well, passenger side's in place. Now fight with the driver's side. Alright, so I should be able to them on from there. Do have bolts for them. But they're 12-point bolts. I don't know if you guys focus. There you go. But and the only thing I have that's 12-point are hand wrenches, so we'll have to play around with these. So the headers did not come with instructions. They came with headers, collectors, some bolts. So there's one bolt that is shorter than the rest. It has to go in this hole on the driver's side, which is the bottom below the two pipes here, because if you don't use that one there, these ones won't go in the hole. There's not enough room between the flange and the pipe. So it's only like an eighth of an inch or so shorter, but it has to go there. So we'll get that bolted up, and then I'll work on this side. And then once we get those on, we'll go back to doing the lifters and whatnot. I got the headers in. It was a heck of a fight. This side, as I mentioned, that little bottom bolt in the middle, pain in the ass to get to. You need to find the one shorter bolt that's in the package and use it. And it's near impossible to get through, or get to, sorry. And I don't think it would matter if I had 12-point sockets and stuff. Getting to that one is near impossible. I used a bunch of different little wrenches. Now the passenger side, which I thought would be easier, ended up being a bit more of a pain in the butt. It's mainly because there's a cross brace in the bottom that the headers are not designed for that brace to be there. It still has a slight issue with that little bolt underneath. It's not as bad on this side. You can kind of reach in through here from the front and get to it. I'll show you where the brace I was talking about. So, this brace here is an issue. It's supposed to be bolted there, but with the headers in, you can't bolt it in place, and you can't put the headers up with it in place. So, of course, this bolt was rusted, and I couldn't get a wrench in there, so I had to take it off with a death wheel, zip cut, whatever you want to call it, grinder. I'll probably have to do that at the front there too, and just cut that one off and just delete this. The one on the driver's side can stay, because the header works around it, but I think it's because of the starter being there, you kind of have to delete this little brace. Because, yeah, there's just no way that's ever going to bolt back up. Even if I put it past the header, it's miles away. And in the way of the A-arm. So, yeah. Fun. And that took a lot longer than I expected. Now we got the headers in place. We can start working on the lifters, the push rods, and the rocker. So we're going to get that stuff and get started on that. Alright. So we got some, I don't know what brand this is. Redline assembly lube. So I'm going to put a little bit of this in each of the holes for the lifters. I don't know if it's needed, but can't hurt. Now, push rods. These are melon, I guess. I don't know if they're any good or not. Guess we'll find out. Right, there we go. Now I'm going to put a tiny bit of assembly lube at the tip of each one of these. I don't know if it's needed again, but can't hurt. And I'll do the springs as well. Or the top of the valves, I mean. Alright, now for the rocker arm shafts. I don't think it really makes much difference which side is which. They look to be pretty much the exact same. So we'll just make sure that we line up. That's good. That's right. But now, there's 4 bolts holding the rocker shaft down. Come on. It says to torque them to 30 pounds, but my torque wrench does not have a socket small enough to do these, and I don't have an adapter. So, once we get started, I'll just have to do it by feel. So I actually went back and redid these bolts and threw a little bit of thread lock on them, or Loctite, whatever you call it. I just think it would be better that way. So what I'm going to do now is roll the engine over by hand a few times and just see how everything moves. Make sure nothing's binding. So I rolled the motor over a couple of times. Everything seems to move fine. Doesn't look like anything's binding. So I think we should be ready to go. Let's move on to the next thing. Should be the intake. Alright, now for the Valvetrain gasket, which on Buick is one of these metal ones. So this will flex in there. But first, we're going to use the black rubber seals on front and back. I know a lot of guys leave these out, but I don't quite trust just putting a big bead of RCD across there, so we're going to do a little bit to hold them in place, and then we'll do around the water jackets and whatnot on the heads and on the back of the gasket for this. Yeah. I cannot do stuff with that and not get it all over myself. Same thing with paint. Paint and silicone, or caulking of any sort. Just get all over myself. Right. Now, this is just to do around these parts now. Might be overkill, but this is what the instructions suggest, so that's what we're doing. Yeah, should be good. Now for the intake. See if I can do this without making a mess. Make sure I have that right way here. Now I gotta find the bolts for it. So this intake is from TA Performance, same place as the headers. This is their single plane air gap style S for the Buick 350. It says SP3 on it. I think that's what the product number is for it. It might be a little bit more than what the cam and this motor is actually designed for, but might be more performance orientated than I really needed. They did have, well, they do make a dual plane one that might be a little bit more better for it, because this is a little bit more strip than street, and the other one was kind of a more street than strip, but they didn't have any of that one in stock. And they had no idea when they might have it in stock. So, yeah, I decided to buy this one. So we'll see how it does. It did come with supply bolts. I'm just putting a little bit of thread lock on them. This is just to help them not come loose. Anyways, we'll get this bolted down. Torque spec was in the instructions. What was it said? For iron heads, which is what we have, 50 pounds. So that's what we're torquing them down to. And they supply a little order in which they suggest to do them in. So we're going to torque this down. I'm going to do them in 2 stages. It doesn't say to do it that way, but I'm going to. So we'll do it at 25 and then 50. Once again, start in the middle. If I can get it in there. I have that will work. There you go. Come on. Not sure why, but my sockets don't like these bolts. Alright, so it turns out they gave me metric bolts. Probably why the 5/8 didn't like them. It's supposed to be a 15. Yeah. Alright, so let's try this again. Alright, so that's the intake on. Slightly a little late, so I think I'll call it for today, and I'll see you guys in the morning. Alright, so I didn't have a lot of time today, so I've just been touching around with some small stuff, valve covers, the fuel pump, the oil filter. This line for the fuel is probably not in quite the right spot, but it's loose right now, so I can move it around. I got the temperature sender in, and a new hopper line for the oil pressure line, or oil pressure gauge. So yeah, just been touching around with little things. So that'll probably be it for this episode of Just A GearHead. Maybe next time we'll actually get started, we'll see. I did get the transmission back as well, so do have to put that in. But anyways, please comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll see you